Hello and welcome to the Wolf and Owl email special. I'm trying to introduce it more quietly.
You're doing a wonderful job.
Please, could you like and subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as the fact that this drops on the old YouTube.
YouTube. Watching as you listen and listening as you watch.
Yo, what you want? Beak or jaws? Feathers or fur? Sharp teeth or feet with claws? Whatever's preferred. Just kidding, every word in this song's about two grown men dressed up as a bird and a dog.
This is an email special. We're going to be interacting with listeners' emails, and there's no videos, are there, today? But we were asking for videos, aren't we?
Still no videos. Still, yeah.
I just think that puts a bit more pressure. So I don't feel like you have to send a video.
Even if it's just you doing a wacky impression.
You know when you get asked to do a video?
Yeah.
Like on your phone when they go, can you just do a quick question to the Olympics team or whatever?
Yeah.
I have to do about 7 takes minimum.
I'm not that for anything that I do on socials. I think you should kick off. You're the best one at reading, so it's a beautiful thing for you to...
Dear Wolf, Owl, Cat, Swan and the Squirrel, this email has been sitting in my draft since Romesh's special was released last year on Sky. Every time I rewrite it, it becomes an essay, when really all I want to do is tell you both how much I love the podcast and send you a silly little comic I drew of Romesh after watching his Hustle special.
Wow.
After watching it, I drew this comic depicting a routine that left me teary with laughter, but also left me feeling vindicated, reassured and seen. Is this my standard? It can't be. At the time, I was working at a place that was slowly crushing me with each shift, not really knowing which direction I wanted to go career-wise. But watching your special was a reminder I needed that the job didn't fucking matter. I want this to be my legacy. I was reminded it was okay to turn up, do the bare minimum and leave at the door. And I did that until I found something different. I'm now working somewhere I enjoy, with people who are supportive, kind, and become real friends. Oh my God!
This is lovely. This is nice.
You're both making a difference, even if sometimes you don't believe it. That's wonderful, isn't it? Should we see the comic?
Yeah, let's have a look at the comic. This is exciting. Wow.
Oh, God. So it's actually literally a comic of my stand-up. If you're lucky enough to be doing a job you love, oh God, this is actually my routine. If you're lucky enough to be doing the job of your dreams, then sure, work as hard as you possibly can. But if you're not, pause. Oh, he's done the eye. Work as little as you can fucking get away with.
He's been really good not to do the eye, and then he's gone for the eye. But actually, do you know what? Some people overdo the eye in cartoons, and he's
done it just right, hasn't he?
So we're being presumptuous. We think this is a he. It could be a she.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Thank you so much for you. That's so lovely.
That is amazing.
That's really
By the way,
nice,
his drawing is incredible.
Well, you've made an assumption that's
Yeah, okay. There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tom Tit.
Okay, again, nothing given away.
Oh, that's really sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Thanks, Tom Tit. It's really nice. You know, you sort of don't think that your stand-up's going to... I mean, I'm not saying that Tom Tit got a new job because of my stand-up.
Well, it sounds like he did.
Or she.
It sounded like they did. Yeah. It's what's beautiful is they've left there and something you've said has had such an everlasting...
It's really nice.
Resonated with them.
It's really nice. Do you get proud of your stand-up?
Of my stand-up? No. Look, I'm actually being very dramatic. I think with stand-up, I'm always in a place that it could be better, and I can need to push myself harder and harder, which is actually quite a negative way in what they're talking about and watching your stand-up. I think, but then talking to you is a different thing. But no, because you're very hard on yourself too, and I'm by nature very hard on myself.
Because everything I've done is average.
No.
Subpar.
No.
Mediocre.
No.
Getting away with it. Pilot high, sell it cheap. Welcome to the Wolf and Owl.
I don't think that's true. I think you're being very...
No, but what the truth, I'm deliberately being a prick there. But I do think, like, I remember you saying that me saying this was quite depressing, but I do love doing stand-up. It's my favourite thing to do. But every time I do a stand-up show, I think that wasn't the one.
Yeah, but can I just say, and this is the thing in what they're saying here, and I said this about your last special, and I think I've said it to you, and I've talked about this on other podcasts. When I saw that special, I actually thought you're getting to a level where you are saying stuff that isn't just funny, that has also a meaning. Yeah, and that's
you're
what
right,
that routine.
It isn't funny.
No, it was really funny.
No,
but what I'm saying is, someone's taken that, laughed at it, thought it was amazing, but actually it's changed how they thought about life.
Yeah.
That's where stand-up's incredible. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen with me comparing myself to Tyson Fury as a boxer. And so my point is, and that's what I've now got, I try with my show is, how do you make something different? How do you talk about something, make it funny, but it also resonates and actually has a meaning?
Yeah, it doesn't have to, though.
No, it doesn't have to, but it's good if it's an incredible thing when you watch like yourself and people who are you know, Kev does it a lot, and then you see, you know, obviously the best at it, Chappelle, Rock, whatever.
I mean, I know Chappelle's become slightly controversial because of the trans stuff. When, like, I don't know if you watched his last special.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It's not his funniest special, I wouldn't say.
No.
But there is something about him.
Yeah.
Like, when he talks, you do want to listen. And he's just got this kind of thought-provoking... His way of, you know, like, I think, like, really good comedians, they open up a door and go, this is how I see the world. And you definitely get that with Chappelle.
Yeah. I
feel like it's kind of magic. I actually think, like, now it's a shame that all the stand-up you see online, and I'm not criticising anybody that does this, but it's all fucking crowd work.
Yeah, but
because you sort of think about the best stand-up.
It's a different medium, though, that is. No.
I know, but the problem that I actually think it's damaging. I actually feel quite strongly about this. I get why individuals are doing it. I do get it, and actually I respect it, because you and I are both talking as people who are privileged enough to have TV commissioners and broadcasters pick us up and put us on their things, right? So if you don't have that level of luck or privilege or being in the right place at the right time, you've then got to think to yourself, how do I get myself out there? And online is the way, right? And the appetite for it is voracious. So you've got to keep putting stuff up. Writing stand-up is difficult. So crowd work is the easiest thing to generate.
Yeah.
The problem is that if you're a punter who doesn't really know about stand-up and you look up stand-up comedy online, all you're seeing is stand-up comedians ripping the shit out of, like, some guy in the front row or whatever. And then you're obviously going to think that's all it is. And then you think about the really great routines. Like, I sort of think about, you know, fucking everything from, like, Richard Pryor talking about his grandma flushing his coat down him flushing his coat down the top. Although those things are, like, crafted and beautiful and amazing, and I think that's.
But my thing is, though, when I say the different mediums, in the sense that I think that the specials in which you watch, and you sit and you're going to watch a special, and, like, you talk about Chappelle, or when Bill Burr dropped his last one or whatever, and you're sitting and watching that as an hour, that I sit and I go, right, that's an hour of comedy I'm going to sit and watch. That's a different thing from sitting there. And like you said, there's some people out there now who like, you know, it's dog eat dog, and they've got to get noticed. There's people who are sending out arenas on the basis of crowd work, and shout out to them because they're doing what they've got to do.
Yeah, and I respect it.
But it's a massively different thing to go, right, that's my special of what is routines and tight work routines, and maybe it'll be an evolution for that person when they go. I find crowd work really difficult, because I find at times, like, walking the line of, and also I try to constantly, I might do new material based on the place that I'm at, like, you know, I'm at this place, so I'll have a few jokes about that area, or I have a bit of a laugh about that area. But I find having too much crowd work I did it the other night. I ended up chatting to someone, and it completely just took the whole act down. It's a show. It's a very different thing. When I got into comedy, it was like stand-up. It was like the people I wanted to be like told stories that had jokes, that had routines. That was always what I've tried to be. Yeah. And it's a very different thing. And I think that, you know, but I also then think the game is changing. You have to release more stuff. You have to show more stuff. It's like, we're now in a situation, if you have got material, you kind of got to burn it before the tour's even gone out. Because actually, once the special's out, you're like, you know, you're on to the next thing and the next thing after that.
Yeah.
But also, I think with your special and my special, I find it really hard to then cut out clips from that special with callbacks or whatever you're doing, and it to have the same
mine's
sense.
Such an intricate web. Do you know what I mean? It's like Game of Thrones. To sort of select one little 30-second observation and put it out there is disgusting. You know? What are we doing? Chopping art into little pieces and throwing it to the fucking
You should
pigeons.
do it like one of those, like the little minute-long things, the dramas that the Chinese people are doing.
They like, you put out a clip.
Yeah.
And it's just so... I mean,
Can I say, by the way, but me and you we're like dinosaurs now. Is the basis that we think too much about, because we've been conditioned in a world where we've thought about and we've written stuff and we've made stuff. The world has changed, and actually people
just shit it out.
Yeah, but that is the truth.
Shit it out.
Quantity over quality, my
Absolutely.
friend. People just put out any old stuff,
and that's coming from me, Mr. 22 TV shows. Okay, should we do the next one?
Talking of TV shows, you've actually been quite entwined in it. I'm just looking over here and I can see what it's about.
Well, we're about to talk about Inside the Manosphere. How am I fucking entwined?
No. But your interview with Louis Theroux,
Oh, yeah.
I think actually is one of the best interviews I've seen in a long, long time. I thought it was fucking fascinating and brilliant.
Oh, thanks,
I was talking about it with some people. I was up in Glasgow.
What people? Sort of influential
Yeah,
people? Like industry people?
No. I was out with Ed Matthews and HS TikTok. You forgot a bit. And,
no, it's Tom David. No, he's not a pedo.
I didn't say that I knew you. Hi, gents. I'm currently struggling to sleep after watching Louis Theroux inside the Manosphere. It's honestly left me raging. In this 1.5 hour doc, Louis follows male influence who preach sexism, racism, homophobia, and more. The fact that these absolute morons have enough of a platform to profit from their garbage is one thing, but the fact that so many young lads are being drawn in towards their content is terrifying. On the other hand, I've listened to your podcast for a long time and couldn't be in more admiration. You're both the sort of gents young men should be looking up to. Your promoting of love, equality, morality will be making a huge difference. My question is, as guys, how do we best promote the right messages for young lads? And what can we do best to undermine the stupidity coming from these podcast pillocks? Thank you for all you do, the Uneasy Eagle.
Thank you for your message, Uneasy Eagle.
Yeah.
Have you watched Inside the Manosphere?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay, what's your take?
I think firstly, it's nothing more different really than snake oil salesman, right? That's at the heart of everything is a money making scheme and them trying to make money. I think the worrying thing for me, one of the biggest things, I was aware of these people for quite some time because of what we do for a living, and you're on social media, so you see these people out there and what they're doing. And also, I weirdly have seen the evolution of it just from clips where you go, okay, they've started with, pranks and fucking about, and then it becomes a little bit more dark and a little bit more, it has that edge. But what actually I thought was more worrying than anything, and credit to you and Louis when you were chatting, and Louis Theroux and the documentary in general, is that how many people were completely unaware of it. I think the first thing that signals to me is how many people I talk to who have got children who had no idea that this was happening. And to bring something like that mainstream so more people are talking about it, I think is a conversation that's worth having. I think there's also there's a side of this which is also very much like it feeds into something that is generationally and going back a long time, the fact that how many people are lost and looking for answers. And actually, when I was watching that as a documentary, and now sitting here as a 46-year-old man who has been through a lot of different things in my life and everything, but actually the way that is done and the way that they speak out to each other, speak to people who are lost, people who have sort of society has cast aside, or people who haven't got any hope or haven't got anyone who's people who are looking to find their place in life. The fact that they pick on a vulnerability of a person, and I look at it and go, wow, actually, you know what? In my younger years, when having been the person I was in the life I was, would I have been susceptible to that? I've had to ask. You have to ask a question because if you're not seen, or there's an element of it that is reaching. It's very, very cleverly planned out. It's very cleverly mapped. So I actually weirdly think in your email the thing of, I think when you hear certain people talk about people call them stupid or whatever, then I think there are a lot of things. I don't think they're that. I think they're very manipulative. I think hopefully what this has done now is shone more of a light on what they're doing and how they're working. And actually, I think what we should be doing as society here is working out why this has happened, rather than being aggressively judgmental, or it's just like work out what has gone wrong. If you look at someone like HS TikTok, he went to a private school. What is the situation that he's found himself in this? And also, people are searching out for answers from him. People are then trying to beat him into a place to go, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't feel like that. The thing I think we should try to be doing is going, how do we rectify the situation? This isn't a problem in the future, and how is this becomes less of a thing that happens, and that it raises a lot of questions as to, like I say, forgotten people who aren't doing well at school, people who aren't particularly haven't got good jobs, and that is a thing that has been coming down the pipe for quite some time. And I think societally we have to get together and go, right, this is an awful part of society. This is an awful thing that we've kind of let happen. We've let it grow very slowly and manufacture itself into what is now a multi-million-pound business that is not only taking money from young men, but it's also giving them a moral compass. It is completely wavered in the wrong direction. So I just think, as scary as it was, and it was a horrible thing to watch, I think everyone should have to sit and watch it. And then I think instead of aggressively shouting at these men, I think we should go, right, how do we come together and how do we try to resolve this in a way that this isn't going to be something that we're dealing with in 10, 20 years. That's what I think.
Really well put. Beautiful. Eloquent. I thought you displayed a level of attractiveness that I admired as you were delivering all of that.
I think it was very
really, really nice. I didn't really feel angry watching it. I've got 3 boys, and I'm fortunate enough that they think these people are knobs, basically. But it might not have been like that. They might not have done. But I was sort of thinking about why our boys aren't looking up to those guys.
Yeah.
And you sort of look at the people that Louis was chatting to in that documentary, and they're all pretty disenfranchised, and they're all like, you know, they feel disconnected.
Yeah.
And that's often where like people like these sort of influencers, often where they can profit is by picking up those people that have sort of fallen through the cracks. You know what I mean? They feel like they've been let down, and et cetera, et cetera. And so that these people put an arm around them and go, hey man, you're supposed to be a fucking hero, and these people are letting you down and all this shit. And I think that the truth of it is I wouldn't advocate a ban on these sort of people personally. I think, you know, if they want to say those things, they want to say those things. If you're asking me, I mean, first of all, I don't think Tom and I are role models, and I don't think we should be.
No,
I don't think. But it's very kind words. But I think what you need to do in order to combat those sort of people is to try and stop those people falling through the cracks. And you know, a lot of the time, you know, people, it's young men that are falling victim to, for want of a better phrase, to these influencers. And I think you want to make sure that they feel supported enough, and you instill them with enough of the right attitudes that they are able to reject those kind of ways of thinking about women and you know, queer people and minorities and all of those kind of things. I think that it's about instilling enough of those values. It's the same way when you're sending your kids off into the world. They are going to face horrible shit, right?
Yeah.
And what you've got to do is, you know, I think about the fact that, you know, my parents, I was never under any doubt that my parents loved me, but I got some shit, and you know, you get involved in some horrible stuff. But
that's the thing, like that. You're like, in this email, they're talking about me and you talking now, and like you said, we're not role models. But if I look back and think of me in my 20s and the person I was trying to work out who I was, you know, were you susceptible to people who were like, you know, alphas and people who almost fought against the system?
You come up against them.
So you, and also I don't think I was ever strong enough back there as a character to fight back against that. So probably was more of a sheep than I would be now as a 46-year-old man who's been through quite a lot in my life, but had to make some mistakes, had to have things in my life that didn't go right. Yeah. Had to be put in situations where I was vulnerable, or that those people would let me down. And I think that's the thing, exactly what you're saying. But I think it's a really easy thing to sit here as 2 men at the age we are who old. It's very easy then to just cast a judgment to people who are in their mid to late 20s. Yeah. Also, by the way, I think, you know, in that, I think they said some abhorrent stuff about homosexuality, sexism, racism, but there also an element of it that it's just for clicks, and that's the other thing that we've all built. But
I do think, like, it's like Theo, my eldest, he knows that it's just for clicks.
Yeah.
So he sort of sees it as like they're just chatting any old shit to get some attention.
Yeah, of course.
And he doesn't see them as relevant. But that, I think, is, I'm not saying that I'm not saying I'm a great parent. I'm not. But I think Lisa's a great mum. But I think that is because Theo has been talked to about positive attitudes towards these people, and for all of his life, and he's got those morals and values and stuff instilled in him, so that he's able to he's got a degree of separation between himself and what he's watching.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that. And in answer to your question, I think it's about reaching out to young lads and making them feel part of something and making them feel valued, because when we let them down as a society, I know that sounds a bit worthy, that is when they'll head in that direction.
Of course.
That's when they'll gravitate towards these people. So Yeah, I mean, look, the answer is I don't have the answer. But you know, I'm just sick of men being fucking held down. You know, all we want to do is fuck and eat a sandwich. Am I right? Hello, Tom and Rom. Sorry for the lack of animal intro, but I can't think of an animal for myself, so I thought I'd go old school on the names. Anyway, the last few pods you've spoken about style choices in midlife. I'm 48, of a similar age to you both. With the 90s being my most important years for fashion, my style hasn't changed much. Baggy jeans, I mean, that's very on trend.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
It's very eggy, friend. It was very eggy.
And a bit of skate trainer porn with a carefully selected t-shirt or vintage buttoned-up shirt. I love this.
Oh, that's a good look.
I live in a sea of skinny jeans and poor skater trainer choices for years, and now all of a sudden the kids are dressing like it's the 90s and I've got the choice of stuff I want. But I unfortunately look like I'm going through a midlife crisis and keeping up with the kids. Not really asking advice, but wanted to show solidarity in your pain of approaching 50 fashion. I say stay strong, brothers. We own that shit first and you both look sharp. Love and peas. Ben. Do you know what? I want to... Well, you go first, actually.
Well, I think number one is, I think...
Fuck the haters, man.
But I also think there's a great thing in Instagram where a guy does a thing where he's like, you shouldn't wear this in your 40s. Yeah. And then he wears it and he's like, well, fuck, who makes that choice? But I think I also like, to Ben's point, I got sucked into the skinny jeans thing far too much. Far too much. Embarrassingly so. And now, actually, weirdly, whatever the fashion is, I feel like I've now actually come to, okay, this is something the clothes in which I wear, I'm very comfortable in. I think I care less about people going, oh, you're trying to not your age or whatever. I'm kind of just, I navigated into a place where I actually feel, probably for the first time in my life, actually, this works okay for me. Skinny jeans was the worst thing, especially also I was probably about 7 stone heavier than I am now in a pair of skinny jeans with a big muffin top. It was, I
loved it.
Mate, I look back at some of those looks, but I think you should just do it. And I say this, do you, brother?
Yeah, I genuinely do think, like, if you just own it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whatever you want to wear, just wear it.
You're looking drippy as can be, boy.
Thanks.
You've got a level of drip. No, mate, but you like the baggy jumpers look that you were wearing the other day.
Wow.
Very nice. Sexy.
But what I would say is, I think you just pick your look, own it. Actually, part of it is the way you carry it off. Yeah, and most people don't give a shit what you're wearing anyway, so just wear what you like.
I remember my mum saying to me when I was younger and I was going out for a night, and she went, no one's looking at you anyway. Which was pretty much indicative of most of my
that doesn't feel, I don't think that's... I mean, I don't know how, with the tone in which it was delivered, but that doesn't sound that positive.
No. But it was in a sweeter way than that. I'm probably being harsh. But I think, just run your course, baby.
Yeah, run your course, baby.
Look how you want to look.
Do what you want. Wear what you want.
Can I say?
I might wear a skirt on the next episode.
I feel like saying, but John, our guy John, the producer John, he's got a look, man. I look at his look; it's a good look.
He's almost certainly got. He's definitely got a look.
Yeah, but I look at John. But he wears a look well.
He's got a look.
He's gone. You know what? I stick on this.
Yeah,
this
I
is
don't
what
give a fuck.
This is my line in the sand.
I don't care.
This is what John is doing.
Yeah,
and
I don't care if tradition was fake.
How old are you, John? 34.
Okay, so why are we even talking to John?
I'm just saying, at 34, I was
13 years younger than us. What he doesn't need, he's not thinking, I hope these two old give me validation. He doesn't give a shit.
No, but I'm saying, when I was John's age, I was wearing, like, skinny jeans. Yeah, vest tops.
You weren't wearing vest tops?
No. I think I had a vest top. I went for a vest top with a shirt over it, face. Yeah. Studded caps.
I had so many Von Dutch caps. Do you
remember? I did, yeah. And then overnight it just went out of fashion.
Yeah, just dead.
Yeah.
Well, I went past the Von Dutch shop the other day.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Is it back?
Yeah, it's coming back. If you held on to that Von Dutch stuff.
Dust off the old camo cap. Anyway, that's all we got time for on the Wolf and Owl email special. Please do email in wolfowlpod@gmail.com. Remember to like and subscribe. If you want to send videos, you can. If you want to send a voice note, you can.
Picture,
you can.
Comic. We had our first comic.
Yeah, we had our first comic today.
That comic will be released and it will be out on our Instagram page. That is the Wolf and Owl.
We haven't got permission to do that or anything.
All right, well, if he gives us permission, if they give us permission.
Get back in touch.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time, motherfuckers.
Keep well.